Hey y'all, thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how to make something that's called a mitered granny rectangle. With this design, our center, our beginning, is going to end up being at the corner because we're only going to be working on two sides of it, unlike a regular granny rectangle where we are working on all four sides of it. Now this technique works up the same when you can when applying it to the granny square also. Now what I like about this design and this technique is that there's so many different possibilities to it. You can customize it to your preference. So there's you can vary the number of rows that you use and make a giant rectangle. You can have varying colors to it. So anyways, you can play around with that, see whatever you come up with, whatever you like the best. Now, for me, I'm involved in the Warm Up America Foundation by way of crocheting these 7x9 rectangles, and then I send them in for others to piece together and into blankets. So what I'll do is I'll put their website down in the description box, so that way you can learn more about the program, and maybe you'll decide to help others out that are in need and contribute as well. All right, so to get this 7x9 rectangle, I am using a 4.25 millimeter hook, and I'm using the Red Heart yarn, and that's washer and dryer safe. Now these rectangles work up very quickly, and typically it takes between 20 to 30 minutes to get one of these done. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to have our slip knot, and we're going to chain up 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're going to skip these first two chains, and we're going to go into the third chain from our hook. We're going to make double crochets. So remember how to do that. We wrap our yarn on our hook, and we go down into the chain and pull it up. So we have 3 loops on our hook. Grab the yarn and pull it through only 2 of those. And then we grab the yarn and pull it through the remainder 2. Okay, we're going to make one more into that same spot. So grab the yarn and put it in, pull it out, grab the yarn, pull it through 2, grab the yarn and pull it through 2. Next we're going to chain 1, and we're going to make 3 more double crochets into that same spot there. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. We're going to chain 1 again, and we're going to put another set of 3 double crochets right there into that same space. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to skip 2 chains, and I usually find it kind of hard to see my first 2 chains because they get kind of squished, so I count up from the back. I'm going to count up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the one that I'm going to go into next. I'm going to put 1 double crochet into that stitch. Into the chain right next to it, I'm going to put another double crochet. And same again into the stitch right next to it, a double crochet. Now we're going to skip the next 2, and we're going to work into the last chain here. We're going to put 3 sets of 3 double crochets, with the chain one in between the sets. So 1 double crochet, 2, 3, that's the first group, that's the first set. I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to go back into that same place to make my second set of 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to chain 1 next, and I'm going back into that same spot to put another set of 3 double crochets. Okay, don't worry about the tail. We're going to end up weaving that in later. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to crochet into the same spot that our double crochets have come out. Okay, so we're going to go right into this spot right here and make a double crochet. We're going to jump over to the next one and do the same thing. And again, to the same. Jump right in there and make another double crochet. Okay, all that's left for us to do now for this is to join it together. So we're going to find the top of our chain 2, put your hook in there, and grab the yarn and pull it out and pull it through, making a slip stitch. And you're going to go onto the top of your double crochet, the one that's right next to it, and make a slip stitch through that, and again, then pull that through. Okay, one last time. We're going to end up with our yarn here in the corner by making the slip stitch on over, and we're going to chain up 2 and cut the work. Pull your hook so that yarn comes on through, and then just give that a good yank. That makes a tight knot there. Okay, so this is what the beginning row looks like. So you have a choice. You can either weave your ends in now, or you can wait until the end of the project. But what we will be doing is you'll want to weave them in. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you why I say that. So I have my next color, which is a heather gray. Make my slip knot. I'm going to put the slip knot on my hook. Okay, I'm going to start in the corner where I left off. So the knot is here from the previous round. I'm going to put my hook into that corner there, and I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm going to chain up 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to put another 2 double crochets right here into this same space. So these tails, I'm just going to hold them to the side because I'm going to demonstrate to you weaving over or crocheting over them, and how I think that that's not the best practice when working with granny stitches. All right, so next what we're going to do is make, we're going to jump over to our corner, and we're going to make 3 double crochets here. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to make another set of 3 double crochets. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to our next space and make another set of 3 double crochets. And I'm just going to stop right here real quick and turn my work over to show you the tails. These are the tails that we had crocheted over. You can see how they're kind of just hanging out. Well, imagine if this was on a blanket. It's not going to take too much use for it to get caught on something and to just come loose, right? So that's why I recommend that when you're dealing with the granny stitch, that you weave in your ends. Leave it there for now. I'll take care of that here in a little bit, and we'll continue on with our design here. We're ready to jump over to the next spot, and we're going to put 3 double crochets into that one. What I like about this design is that it is a repeating pattern. So all you're doing is looking for these spaces here. Okay, so our next space is right here, and we're going to put 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Now if we were making a regular granny rectangle, we would be crocheting around all 4 sides, right? But since we're doing the mitered rectangle, this is the end of the line for us. So we're going to need to chain up 2, 1, 2. We're going to turn our work. Okay, that's going to count as a double crochet for us. And we're looking for this spot here. We're going to make another set of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Remember with the granny stitch, it works up in sets of 3. So it's always going to be 3 of these double crochets in each of these spaces. So there's 1, 2, 3, and our corner. So we're doing 3, chain 1, and 3. Now I'll tell you why I don't like to chain 1 in between our stitches along the sides, and that's because it makes the work less floppy. I don't know if you've made granny squares or granny rectangles before. If you add in stitches, if you add in chain 1 here, it really makes the work kind of flimsy. And this way, when you don't make the chains in between, I find that there really is not a need at the end of the project to block it or to worry about the shape of it. It really does keep its shape very well. So I'm just moving on to our next space there and putting in our 3 double crochets. And then over here, we're going to find the top of our chain 2, and we're going to make 1 double crochet into that. Okay, so for my design, I'm using rows of 2 colors. So this is it for me. I'm going to chain up 2. I'm going to cut it off, pull it tight, and really that really does a nice job of securing that. So I'm going to take a moment and weave in my ends, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I got my ends took care of, and I'm going to start in the same place where I left off. So you just sort of feel where your knot is on the end. It's over here on mine. Right, make a slip knot into your next color, which is black. Put that slip knot onto your hook, and then you go into your stitch, grab the yarn and pull it out, making the slip stitch. Next we're going to chain up 2 and put another 2 double crochets right into that same spot. That makes our cluster of 3. We go over to our next space and make our next group of 3 double crochets. Go to the corner, remember how to do that. Make your group of 3 double crochets and then chain 1 before going back into that same spot for your next 3 double crochets. Find your next space and make your next set of 3 double crochets there. Your next space for your next 3 double crochets. Next 3 into the next space. Now let's take a look over here at the end. We have one more spot here, right here at the end. That's where we're going to put our last 3 double crochets for this row. All right. Now this is just a repeating pattern, as I have said. So the repeat is, you're going to look at the edges. It's going to go 3, 1, 3. So there's 1, right? So that means we're going to chain up 2. That's going to be our 1 double crochet. And we just move on to our next space where we're going to put our set of 3 double crochets. Move to your next space, put your 3 double crochets. All right, so just go ahead and finish this row. I'll meet you back at the end to make sure that we're doing this end properly, and then I will show you the next color. All right, I'm down over here to the end of my second row of the black color. Into my last space here, we put the 3 double crochets. I already have 1 in there, so that's 2. And here's my 3rd. Okay, now this is the row that we're ending on a 1. So 3, 1, 3, 1. So you're going to want to find the top of your chain 2, put your stitch in there, and then make your double crochet from there. Okay, we're going to fasten off with this color. So chain up 2, snip your yarn, and then pull it tight to make that knot. Okay, should be looking like this now. Shaping up very nicely, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to take just a moment to weave in my ends. You know, you could wait until the end of the project and just weave them all in at the same time, but for some reason I feel like it takes longer to do it that way. I think it probably takes about the same amount of time, really, but it's probably just some sort of a mind trick. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and just weave those in. Let me take care of this last one as well. This is why I sort of try to do this off camera so that you guys don't see me fumbling around trying to get it into the needle. There we go. All right, we're just going to clip that off. And let's see. Our next color is going to be charcoal gray. So we make our slip knot. Let's find the edge again where we put our knot. It's over here. So that's where we want to start. Put your hook into your slip knot. Then put your hook into the space and make a slip stitch. Chain up 2. We're going to make 2 more double crochets into this row. Into that hole there. Into our next one, we're going to put 3 double crochets. Three double crochets into our next space. The corners, remember, we do 3. What is my yarn catching on? 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then another 3 double crochets. All right, so go ahead and finish out the rest of this row. If you get confused as to where you're going to end it on, just look again. 3 1 3 1, so we're ending on a 3. All right, so here we are done with the first row of our charcoal color. We've ended on the 3, so we're going to chain up 2, and that's going to act as our first double crochet for our next row. We flip our work over, and we are going to find each of these spaces and make our 3 double crochets into each of the spaces along the way, remembering to chain 1 in between our corner stitches, our 2 groups of 3 that we're putting into our corner. So just put the groups of 3 all the way over, and you guys figure which stitch we're going to be ending on, the 3 or the 1. Yep, it's going to be a 1. So we just did the 3, so we're going to end on the 1, right? So here we have the 3, then we chain 1, and we're going to continue with our groups of 3 into each of these spaces. I will let you guys finish this up. So you're ending on a 1, go ahead and chain up 2, clip your work, weave in the ends, and then you can meet me back for the next color. Alrighty, my next color that I am using is a light gray. Red Heart calls this a dusty gray. And I have my hook onto my slip knot. It's all ready to go. I have the spot where we finished with the, what was this one? With the darker gray. We're going to make our slip stitch there. And we're going to chain up 2. Since this is the alternating row, we ended right here with a 1. That means this row is a 3. So we're going to put 3 double crochets on our ends. And we're going to work 3 double crochets into each of these spaces all the way across. And you know, I was thinking that it would be pretty neat if you didn't even want to make these into squares or rectangles, that you could just make one giant rectangle and have that be your blanket. It would be like giant L's all the way on your big blanket there. That might be kind of cool looking. But anyways, I will walk you through this corner, and then I'm going to let you finish the next 2 rows on your own. So you remember how to check to make sure what we're ending the row with. You know, but also you start and you finish in the same way. So if you start on a 3, you're going to end on a 3. But if not, go 3 1 3 1 3 1 3. Okay. Well, so when you end with the 3, you're going to chain up 2, turn your work, and go back the other way. So I'm going to stop here. You can restart the video when you are all done with your dusty gray, the 2 rows of that, and then I will show you how to put a border on this. Alrighty, so our rectangle should be looking like this so far. So I have the white, the heather gray, black, charcoal, the dusty gray we just finished up with, and now it is time to put on our border. So we're going to be using white for our border, and we're going to start again in the same spot where we had left off from our previous row. Just keep all of our knots in the same area. So mine is over here. Have the slip knot with my hook on it, and I'm going to put my hook through and grab the yarn, pull it back out, and make a slip knot. I'm going to chain up 2. That'll act as my first double crochet, and I'm going to put a corner into this space. So that means I am making 3 double crochets, chain 1, going back into the same place, making 3 double crochets, and then I'm going to jump over to the next space here. That's where I'm going to put my next 3 double crochets. Okay, jump over to your next space, put in the 3, keep on jumping over to the very next space, put in your 3 double crochets there, 3 double crochets into the space after that. And here we are at the corner, so we're going to do the same thing as we have with all of our other corners. Chain, or 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. And we're going to jump on over to our next space, put in our 3, the same way all the way down. All right, meet me back up when you get to this corner here. All right, we're just going to put in our 3rd corner for our white border. So same way, we're going to put in our 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and we're going to turn our work. Now this is previously unworked side, right? We've been working on these 2 corners, and this has been our edge. But we're going to put our border on here on both of these sides. So no big deal. If you hold your work up, you can see that it has holes. Your spaces are right here. Those are the spaces that we want to do our group of 3 double crochets into. Okay, so we'll put our 3 into the first spot. Okay, jump down to the next. So if you notice, these are the spots in between the colors. So our dusty gray and our charcoal, there's a spot that you put your 3. The charcoal and the black, there's a spot. The black and the heather gray, yep, there's a spot. Okay. Now, don't forget to make this spot. It gets kind of squished and it might be easy to miss at first. But there's a spot here between your heather gray and the original starting rectangle that we did. So it goes right there. We're going to make our 3 double crochets into that one. Now we're going to go jump over to the corner, which is this space right here. We're going to make another corner there. So we're going to make our 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 1. And we're going to go back into that same spot to make our next set of 3 double crochets. Okay, same along with this side. This side was our other edge, and we are going to go ahead and crochet into the spaces there. We'll put our 3 double crochets into each of those. So you see how this project, once you get the hang of it, this technique, this design, whatever you want to call it, It's very simple. It's very easy. Probably the hardest part about it is just making sure that you're rotating your rows, right? Alternating between the 3 and the 1. So that's all of our spaces on this side. So now what's left to do is to join together, because we have already made our corner over here. So we're going to find the top of that chain 2 and make a slip stitch. And what I like to do is always end in the center of the corner. So I go down the top of each one of those stitches with a slip stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch into the corner, chain up 2, cut my work, make sure I pull that knot tight, and that's it, we're done. Congratulations, you finished a mitered granny rectangle. Now the thing with these, they're exactly the same size. Your rectangles are worked up in the exact same number of stitches. So when you're ready to join, what you do is you just run your needle through each of these stitches there, and that joins them up. So hopefully this, I made this design explaining it very clearly. Hopefully I made it easy to understand for you guys. If you do have any questions, make sure to let me know. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy your day. Thank you for following along with me, and I'll see you next time.